Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Buddy Study Group, and today we're joined by the lovely Rhonda Bills, and she is going to take us through everything we need to know on nationwide Care Matters. Now, that is a really a two-product offering, including Care Matters for individuals and Care Matters together for couples. I don't know when to stop calling it new. It's not new anymore, but it still feels new. Their joint survivorship hybrid plan. So we're gonna go through sweet spots, ideal clients, all that you need to know as far as being prepared and knowing where Nationwide might sit in your toolkit as one of the tools. So, Rhonda, thank you for being here and take it away. Drop your knowledge.
All right. Welcome everybody. It's I need some catchy slogan for a Tuesday, but hey, it's Nationwide's on our side today. We're going to talk about Nationwide. I love that Nationwide product. For those that have been on here for the last couple of years, you've heard me routinely say One America is one of my favorite one-stop shops. Well, I'll tell you what, Nationwide is right up neck and neck with One America as far as a one-stop shop. Still don't have quite as many of the options and flexibility that One America has, but they're really right behind them and they're really competitive and have some extra perks that One America doesn't have. So we're going to jump into Nationwide. Quick show of hands, and I know a lot of you just have a photo on, but tell me, or maybe put it in the chat, how many of you have wrote Nationwide, or maybe, yeah, let's start with how many of you have not wrote a nationwide policy via either Care Matters Together. Thank you, Robert. I wish I had a candy. I'd throw it to you for being honest. Carly's out there. She's not wrote a nationwide. Anybody else? Okay.
Got a couple more thumbs up too from
Lisa, Robert.
people.
Okay, very good. All right. So this is going to be for you guys. Um, if you're not writing nationwide, please, after today, put it in your toolkit. Make sure you run it and start looking at it. Okay. So first of all, Nationwide is a hybrid product. And to me, the simplicity of a hybrid means we're combining two things together in one. That means we're going to give you all the tax-free benefits of a traditional long-term care policy, but we're going to combine it with life insurance, which means we're going to guarantee you both long-term care, tax-qualified long-term care, and if you do not use it, there is a death benefit. Now, Jason kind of gave you a sneak peek of what I'm going to talk about. Nationwide, for years, have had their signature product, their CareMatters product, and most recently, they've had their CareMatters 2. And how that product works, because it is a hybrid policy, their base policy is 2 years, 24 months. So that means the base policy guarantees long-term care, and if you do not use it, there is a death benefit. So the life insurance is based on that AOB, the base benefit of 24 months. So that means to you, if you do not use long-term care, that is what is going to be returned to you as a death benefit at the time of passing. So the acceleration comes out of that initial death benefit. It's the base benefit is the life insurance portion, and you can accelerate it, meaning, hey, I didn't die, I need long-term care, so I can accelerate, I can take money out of that base death benefit. But if you do exhaust all 24 months of long-term care or the death benefit, there is no death benefit. But hang on, there's a cliffhanger here. I'm going to come back to that, okay? Now, most of us are going to say, Rhonda, 24 months is not a lot of long-term care because we're all talking to females that have history of 3.5, 4 years, average males closer to 3 years, maybe 2.5 to 3 years. So yes, 2 years of benefits for long-term care is really not a lot of long-term care, but we can add the continuation of benefits or extension of benefits, EOB rider. And with with Nationwide, we can have another 2 years, 4 years, or yeah, 2, 4. Yeah, so we can add either another 2, 3, 4 years. You can do odd number increments in there too. So that means you get 2 years for the base, and you can add another 1, 2, 3, or 4. So you can go up to 6 years of benefits with Nationwide. So what does that mean? If I use the first 2 years and I had another 4 year extension, I can have 6 years of tax-free dollars coming in for my extended care for long-term care. So if you have a client, they feel that 2 years is just not enough, they can go ahead and add the continuation extension of benefits to give them an extra 1, 2, 3, 4 years. Now, typically with Nationwide, your sweet spots are going to be the 4 year or maybe the 6 year product, 6 year benefits. So add another 2 years or 4 years on that extension of benefits rider. Okay. Everybody with me so far? Thumbs up. Great. Okay. What I love about Nationwide is they do have inflation. So you can add the 3%. They have a 5% compound inflation. You can have a 3% compound inflation. That will also include for both the base and the extension of benefits rider. Yay. We love that, right? Because we're talking to a lot of people in their 50s. I would say probably 7 out of 10 appointments a week, people are in their 50s today. So we need that compound inflation. And I believe we can even do a 20-year or we could do a lifetime rider on the inflation. So maybe you have somebody in their late 60s. A way to help keep their premiums down is we could compound the 3% for 20 years and cap it, because we know in 20 years they're going to be in their late 80s. So that's a way to help us custom design it to make it fit into their premium range. That's a comfortable premium range, because we know all of these long-term care products are to provide peace of mind. It's not to provide a stress to them how to pay for it. So if we can help reduce some of those premiums down to still give them credible coverage up front and have that inflation going is a really good thing. Okay. Let's talk about their elimination period. What I love about a Nationwide's elimination period is unique to anybody else. Excuse me. They have a 90-day retroactive elimination period. So that means you still pay technically the 90 calendar day elimination period. So you're going to pay the first 90 days of care, but that fourth month, when you get your first check from Nationwide or direct deposit, they're actually going to send you 4 months of benefits in that first month, because they're going to retro it back. So they recognize that, a lot of people are dipping into savings to pay those first 90 days. You were legitimately on long-term claim. You're still on long-term claim. So we're going to go ahead and retro it back, bring it to you, make you whole. So that is a really nice feature for people to know that. Okay. Nationwide is also 100% cash plan. So this we find very attractive, because sometimes you're dealing with people that had parents that had a policy and they were frustrated with the whole mailing in the receipts every month. So a nice thing with Nationwide is we can say it is 100% cash. Once your doctor certifies that you need care physically or cognitively, you will get a check every month. You do not have to turn in receipts. Okay. Now they will recertify once a year to make sure you still are benefit eligible, but it does make that simplicity process a lot easier. Now, the other thing that I find with the cash benefit is particularly on I call them the bookends, the East and the West Coast. We have a lot of clients that may hire a home health care agency, and maybe they get a special bond with one of the caregivers. Maybe the family wants to hire that caregiver from the home health care agency. So they will buy out the home health care agency's contract. They will now have that caregiver 8 hours during the day, not the normal 1.5 hours that they're there for. They're going to pay that employee more than they were making for the agency. And a lot of times families will even say, we'll either pay your taxes for you. And they get that caregiver for 8 hours. That is the beauty of cash, because you do not have to turn in a receipt showing that they are an employee of a licensed home health care agency. Obviously, they were employed before because they have a CNA license or a nurse's aide or whatever it is. So we know they know how to care give, but what it does is they're no longer employed from the agency, so we can pay them with cash.
It's really
Okay.
interesting. I've never thought about that before, Rhonda. Have you seen that play out in practice with clients of yours?
I had a client, that's why they bought Nationwide, because they specifically had done that privately for their own father.
Hmm. Okay. That's interesting.
Yep. And with that too, oh, how many of you here families say, or your prospects say, well, can this policy pay for my kids to take care of me? Oh, my daughter's a stay-home nurse, or my daughter's a teacher, or my daughter says she's going to take care of me, or I want my daughter-in-law. So this will answer that question. We all know, wink, wink, Yes, kids love their parents. Yes, they want to be there for them, but we also know they do not know the magnitude of the triage and the event that's going to keep going and going and going and not getting better. So this can actually give them a little peace of mind saying, fine, yeah, you can use it, hire them to pay cash, but then if they, exhaust out their energy and resources and you do need to hire a licensed professional caregiver, yeah, it doesn't matter because we're still sending you your check. So that's to me, my opinion. The other way where I see cash as a value is our international benefits because people today, a lot of people want to retire and travel overseas, but now I'm hearing more and more people say, I want to retire and live overseas. So that's when we get into the weeds. You know what would be fun, Jason? You know what we should do sometime on a buddy study? We should have a buddy study specifically on breakdown of international benefits, go through ins and outs, the intricacies of the benefits of what does this policy pay? What does this one not pay? What are their stipulations? How about the medical certifications, US doctor? It might be a fun buddy study.
A
Just
100%. And yeah, on like our internal hierarchy of international benefits, Nationwide does pretty well. I think when it comes to international benefits, I think there are a lot of questions that are actually yet to be answered. And you know Miss Linda very well. She is quite a bulldog when it comes to this stuff. And if there's answers she can't get, I don't know if anybody else can get those answers. But
Well, I
I will,
started a sheet, Jason, a while ago.
yes.
Yeah, about a week or two ago.
Yeah, yeah. So I think we can start by having an introductory discussion, and then I want to have another discussion where we actually push the envelope a little bit further and figure
yeah.
out what we still need to figure out from carriers because this is becoming more and more important every
Mhm.
single day to clients. What if I retire overseas? We're an increasingly globalized economy, right? So it's going to be more and more relevant. We got to get better and better answers.
And Phyllis just spoke up. Any of you that do not know Phyllis Shelton, you should know Phyllis Shelton. And she is a trove of what, 30, 35, 40 years of experience?
37. Mhm.
37 years of
Half the things you
experience.
see out there today were Phyllis's idea, all of them, maybe. So I agree.
Well, I did start an international sheet and I've got all, the carriers on it and just adding more information as we get it. Because I wanted it for myself, all in one place. What does this company do or that? And it's because I can't remember it all. I mean, there's no way.
Yeah.
So there you
Um,
go,
Where does
Jason.
Nationwide rank for you personally, Phyllis, as far as international benefits? And for me, I would say they're number three as well, but I'm interested in what you think, Phyllis.
Um, I'm mixed. I mean, yes, I really like what they're doing. Securion's interesting because it's 50%. So if you have a 6-year benefit period, it'll last 12 years, or 3 years will last six. But a lot of it, people really need to get real about what's the cost of care in the country they're thinking about going
Right.
to. If it's half what it costs here, great. If it's more, that could be a problem. So, uh, yeah. Rhonda, the other thing on cash, what about robots and new services that come along?
Yeah, talking about alternate plan of care benefits, um, today we've got these legal contracts today that say we're going to cover home care, nursing home, assisted living, adult daycare, hospice, respite, blah, blah, blah. Well, fast forward another 5 years when we really start hearing about robot care, because we've been talking about it the last 5 years, but when we really, really start talking about it day to day and people know of robot care, that's another nice thing with those cash plans because they're going to pay out, doesn't matter who you hire. So maybe you buy your own robot, maybe you rent, maybe they're going to rent robots out like your little LEQ. Maybe they'll rent a robot out, who knows?
Something to be said, though, about future-proofing what your long-term care dollars can do, and there's no
Mhm.
better way to do that than with cash, right?
Mhm.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and Bright House pays full. Carly's right. That's 100% cash abroad.
Yeah, and that's
What we're
kind of
getting, yeah, go ahead, Rhonda.
the reason why I put Bright House as my favorite
Yeah,
international benefits because they pay 100% for all of it.
everything. Mhm.
Securing, I would put as my number two choice because they will pay 50% all the benefits, which means it'll just spread out and make it last longer. And exactly to Phyllis's point, most international currency is going to be different, and then the cost of care may be cheaper, so they may be okay with paying 50%, knowing that they have, again, some of those dollars coming in every month. And then I'd put nationwide as my third choice. Now that's just my opinion. Diane Stoddard's on here. She's very fluent in all these products as well. Diane, if you have something different you'd like to add to the conversation, we're a team here, so feel free to chime in.
Yeah, Diane's also our guardian angel, helping answer some of the questions we have coming into the chat too.
Yep,
So
I
thank you.
agree. I agree. Same three in a row.
Okay, great. Okay, so now here's a case where for CareMatters too. So for longest time, One America was the signature joint second to die policy, which means you had one policy, you put two people's name on it. One spouse could use it for long-term care, the second spouse could do it, or simultaneously both could pull out of it. That was their signature product. And in what, 2024, or is it 23 that maybe it was the end of 23, I can't remember now, but CareMatters Together came out, and that now resembles that One America joint second to die policy. But that being said, does not mean everybody's going to want to share a policy. Sometimes I have run into couples where they both want that CareMatters product, but they each want their death benefit. So if the husband predeceases the wife, she doesn't want the pool money sitting for long-term care. She kind of wants the death benefit, right? So, or vice versa, maybe the female, for whatever reason, if she predeceases, she wants to make sure there's a lump sum of money left behind for them. So we can still write couples joint, just write their own CareMatters 2 separately. I typically find the CareMatters Together is a little bit more cost effective as opposed to writing two separate policies. But my old adage says, never make an assumption, just run the numbers, double check it, and see what's important to them.
Yeah, I've heard from folks kind of the same that I'm hearing from you, but I have also seen or heard of a couple of situations where individual care matters with a couple's discount for two spouses can actually price out a little bit more effectively. So, like
I
Rhonda
just
said,
found that, Jason. It was
yeah,
a
you did.
44-year-old and a 50-year-old, I believe, 51-year-old. Yeah. I was shocked because I really thought that you get, in fact, I didn't even want to do the comparison. But
Sure.
once they asked me, they said, let's be sure. I said, sure, okay, I'll do it. And then I was like, okay. Yeah.
Got to
We'll
look
do
at this
it.
every time now. Yeah, I mean, there's
Yeah.
obviously going to be like personal planning reasons why you might want to look at two individual plans, but
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, just yeah, never make an assumption because there's
Mhm.
always a weird sell in
Yeah.
any sort of pricing that an actuarial may build, right?
Well, and the other thing you want to remember too is the death benefit is based on the base. The death benefit is based on the base benefit. And when you
Yeah.
go to CareMatters Together, they don't take the 24-month like One America. They actually make it a little bit bigger. I think it's 30, is it 33 or 36? I think it's 36 months.
36 months is what I can remember, Rhonda.
So
Yeah.
obviously the base benefit's a little bit longer, which means the death benefit's going to be a little higher, which means the premium.
Yeah, and one thing on Care Matters Together to note, and again, maybe another potential consideration for looking at two individual care matters. Um, there are certain restrictions based on what underwriting class one or both of the spouses fall in. So they do have a preferred and a standard rate. Okay. If one of the spouses ends up preferred and the other standard, there can be no greater than a 10-year age gap between those two spouses. So that may automatically throw you to two individual Care Matters plans. But if both insureds are standard rates, that's actually a decline for both of them for that one policy. So,
Now, and to add to your point there, the one thing with Nationwide I do find is they're not quite as user friendly with One America, where One America you can do like pay to 95 or pay to 100, you can do 10 pay, 20 pay, you can do anything in between. With Nationwide, they do have an age cutoff because I was running a quote for some people, and the male was just a little bit over the age limit where he couldn't do the pay as you go. So he had to do either a 10-year premium. So sometimes it may make more sense to, break them apart as
Right.
far as premium. How do they want to pay the premium, and which, what's the age can they both apply? Which products can they apply
Yeah,
for?
and they're fairly, I would say they offer a number of different options to be able to pay the premium. I believe they do single, 5, 10, pay to 65, pay to 100, which gives you a number of different perspectives. Like pay to 65, I want to pay this off while I'm working and have the income to be able to pay the premium. I don't want to pay it all up in one shot, but I don't want to pay it for the rest of my life, right? That's a nice little middle ground to offer because a lot are just kind of offering a recurring pay for life. Nationwide, you'll cut it off at 100, pay it off in one shot, a few shots, or for your working years, which I think
What's the cutoff, y'all, for doing the pay as you go on Nationwide?
I can't remember, and maybe Diane knows this, but
I
I want to
think
say
if you're
like
less
mid-60s.
than 10 years out from your age of 65, um,
No, not that. I mean the cutoff for the pay as you go.
oh,
I think it's somewhere in the mid-60s, but I can't remember off the top of my head. Because again, I have a software that does it. So
yeah, right.
I remembered all like the international benefits if I got a cheat sheet.
Remember what you have to.
Yeah. Yep. Now let's talk just a little bit before we move to Care Matters together, the company itself. So I'm here in Des Moines, Iowa. We are the second insurance capital of the world behind Hartford, Connecticut. We have got insurance companies all around. We're really great with customer service. We call it Iowa Nice, but we have a lot of good companies that are Midwestern companies. And Nationwide is in Columbus, Ohio. You got One America in Indianapolis, Indiana. You got Mutual of Omaha in Nebraska. You've got
Transamerica in Cedar
Transamerica.
Rapids.
Yeah, so you got all these Midwest companies. So number one, I'm going to always give them a little pat on the back. Yay, because we like Midwest companies. But I will tell you, Nationwide has a trove, like Phyllis is a walking trove of information and history. Nationwide has a trove of marketing materials, and they are spending and investing a lot of money to develop marketing materials. And they really ramped up for November. If you're not aware of this, mark your calendars. November is National Long-Term Care Awareness Month. Start thinking of your campaigns, how you want to market to either clients to maybe get referrals coming in off current policyholders, or maybe market to get some new clients, or work if you're working with financial planners or whatever. But start thinking about, hey, how can I capitalize on national long-term care awareness? But they Nationwide spent a lot of money on investing into marketing pieces for the long-term care awareness. They are simply a great company to work with. They're easy to work with. They respond very quickly. You have case managers, and they also are investing in spending money, bringing people out to their home office to spend a day or a day and a half on their products, making sure you feel comfortable with that company. So anytime when I see companies that are willing to spend some money to bring brokers out to their home office and give them a little extra hands-on training and peace of mind, that means they're investing in you and investing in their clients.
And the
So
market, yeah. And I just want to kind of add a couple of things to that. Well, number one, I can mirror the Des Moines thing because I have this coaster that's probably hard to see that Miss Rhonda got me a while ago that says Des Moines, our primary industries are kicking ass, taking names, and selling insurance. So if the coaster says it, you got to believe it. But also, I'll mirror you on the people, just the people power at Nationwide. If you're new to the study group, we generally try to bring a couple of perspectives to product sessions. So we like to have a top specialist who does a very good job as a producer under the carrier selling Nationwide's product. That's why Rhonda's here. But we also like to have carrier representatives here as well to kind of give you, their version of education on the product. I think there's huge merits to both. The any wholesaler that you are assigned to at Nationwide, I guarantee you it's going to be a good person. We'll probably have either Julie or Alyssa on a study group call somewhere down the line before the end of the year to kind of give you the rundown there. But also, beyond like their dedication to marketing information, their underwriting dedication is something that they didn't always have. But ever since they brought Alan Gregoire on, who you might have seen on a study group a couple of months ago, they are making some huge changes to underwriting. One of the biggest ones is actually just stepping up the amount of underwriting information they provide you, the agent, up front. So if you all remember the times when Alan was at Mutual of Omaha, you know that their field underwriting guide was like this, right? They had a good 50 to 60 pages in their underwriting guide, and it would tell you almost anything you need to know about any condition and how it's treated, any medication. That process is sort of being reinvented for Nationwide. So I think right now their underwriting guide as it sits is like a piece of paper, two pieces of paper. You're going to actually see a book that you can flip through, and it's going to give you a lot more information than you ever had up front on Nationwide underwriting. And the underwriting team there, I think just under his tutelage is like the consummate professional, but also one of the most pragmatic human beings I've ever met. You should establish a relationship with Nationwide's underwriting team because if you can do enough homework and you can provide enough proof that you've got a healthy client here and you really work with the underwriting team, you may be able to, get some cases in that if you just left it alone and didn't open that dialogue, might not go anywhere, right? So. I'm not here to say that they are an extremely lenient carrier, but I am here to tell you that they're fair and they're willing to really take in information if you've done your homework to try to get a case through. They're not in the business of declining applications if they don't have to. So I think if you're a responsible field underwriter, you could have some really good outcomes there.
Now oh, go ahead, Phyllis, you're on mute.
Oh, it's available now.
Yeah. The cutoff for pay to 100 is 65.
I was thinking it was mid-60s. I just didn't know. Okay.
65.
All right. Raise your hand. Give me a thumbs up if you are in California or working in California. Great. How about New York? Exciting news. We got products in California and New York. Can't say that with every carrier, and you can say it with both. So that is really exciting. So not only do we have CareMatters, but we also have CareMatters together in California. Now the New York product is a little bit different. I believe we only can do a 10 pay. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is it
So
5 pay or 10 pay?
first and foremost, it's CareMatters 1 in New York. Yeah, Gene, New Yorker, current New Yorker. I'm former New Yorker. Do you remember that off the top of your head? If we have a pay mode restriction?
I think it might be 5 pay or it's either 5 or 10.
We do have restrictions on that, yes, yeah. Unfortunately, yeah.
Let me dig, Rhonda. I think I have something sitting around for New York.
But you'll
Talk
know it
amongst
and you quote
yourselves.
it. You can figure it out. But here's the good news is we do have product available in those two states.
One of
So
the things about CareMatters 1 is it's ages 40 to 69 in the state of New York. So a bit more limited of an age window. Normally we're, I believe, 30 to 75 for CareMatters, 30 to 70 for CareMatters together, for 40 to 69 in New York. So just keep that in mind. Good to have any product in New York.
all right, now let's talk about CareMatters together. So again, this is going to be a joint second to die policy. So it's one big pool of money. We can put both husband and wife name on it, or you can put both partners on it, and you each one can pull out for long-term care, or they simultaneously can pull out for long-term care. With their product, it is 36 months is the base. So we went from 24 because we're doing joint. We're going to go to 36 months base. And unlike One America, we cannot get unlimited benefits. They will go up to 8 years, I believe, for their CareMatters Together product. It's still going to have the 90-day retroactive. It's still going to be cash. Obviously, if one spouse predeceases, they're going to keep the benefits for long-term care. So no death benefits going to be paid out until that second spouse, because the whole purpose is long-term care. So we're going to keep as much of the money for long-term care. So if one spouse predeceases, we're going to keep all the money for long-term care. When the second spouse passes away, if it did not pay out minimum that base benefit, that's what's going to be returned as a death benefit. by the way, I left you on a cliff note, and I forgot to bring it up, follow it back up. Nationwide does have a residual death benefit, which is really nice to be able to add that in your presentation. So if your clients do exhaust all the long-term care benefits, whether it's CareMatters 2 or CareMatters 1 in New York, or if it's CareMatters together, if they do go on claim and use all the long-term care benefits, at the time of passing, Nationwide is still going to pay. It's a minimum, I think it's like 10% death benefit. We call it a residual death benefit, or I think it's called guaranteed benefit on the illustration. But they basically take the stance of, we're Nationwide, we're a life insurance policy company. We're used to paying out death benefits. So that's what they're going to do. Diane, did you want to add something?
Yeah, it's 20%.
20%. Thank you. See? Love that girl. She's awesome.
Me too.
I am not,
Do you
I'm
all
not,
talk about the inflation difference on the New York policy? Ellikie was talking and I missed it. Did you talk about
We did not yet.
no.
no inflation on the base? But you could do a 2-year mutual of Omaha policy and fill in some inflation.
Great,
Good point.
great idea. Love it. And we call those combos, right?
Combo combos. Yep. Combo combos.
What else do I have for my notes here? They do have a pre-screen, so you can email for pre-qualification. That's typically what I like to do. And that way they email me back and either they'll come back and ask me some more questions or say yes.
Great.
Hang on to those notes. I don't know why it took me 29 years, but now I finally kept an email folder for pre-quals. So that way I never have to worry about if I lost them or not. Just throw them back in there if I need to go back and reference them. So, that's what I have. Phyllis, Diane, anybody else want to chime in here if I'm missing something, the big picture on anything here?
I guess I just wanted to be sure people understand the whole thing about, you don't think about it, but the base policy, it's not going to grow, period. So if they have a claim 20 years from now, if they started out with 6,000 a month, it's going to be 6,000 a month. And then when they get through that, after a couple of years, then they go into the extension, and all of a sudden it's been growing all this time, and it's like a video game where you go into light speed. So now you've got a whole lot more, but people have to be aware of that. And if they want to fill it in, Mutual Omaha is approved in New York, and they could do a small plan that way to offset that.
So to me, it resembles the old One America, California.
It does, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Phyllis, do you ever front loaded in New York?
And what do you mean? Oh, make it a bigger benefit? Yeah, I mean, I think I would compare, the premium gene and see what would be the better fit. But I think we need to do something. I'm just, that part just really, because I'm the inflation queen, as you know, so that really bothers me. And I have to be honest. I mean, when Bright House went into New York, we still can't figure out how they got approved to have the inflation from day one. But don't look a gift horse in the mouth, right? So
No.
I'm sure different people were working in the insurance department. You know how that goes. So, and I'm thrilled for them. But I wish Nationwide would go back to the DOI and say, "Hey, not fair, not fair, not fair." Bright House got it. So why can't we?
Did we mention Diane came in with the save and said 65 is the oldest age to pay to age 100, and same with CareMatters together. We do have her. Oh, go ahead, Rhonda.
I was going to say, with Nationwide, if you have a birthday coming up, they will let you save age. So let's say the birthday is August 20th and you do not take the application electronically by August 19th. You could take a paper application, make sure they sign it August 19th, but you've got 30 days from that August 20th date to get that paper application in. Just make sure you sign and date it the day before their birthday, and they will honor that, just so you know.
One thing we might want to mention, Rhonda, on the limited pay, 10 pays or whatever, Nationwide does not waive the premium. You can't get that in there. So if they have a claim in that 10-year period, whatever, they will pay their premium. But maybe Nationwide will be more solid because of that, because they're going to collect the money no matter what. And Lynn's put in a question we need to address. The 20% death benefit for each spouse. It's a second to die policy. And the 20% is, even if they use the entire death benefit up, it's based on whatever the death benefit was for that policy. It'd be 20% of that to their heirs, the second death of the second spouse.
So there's two death benefits. There's the base benefit, which usually is like, 100,000 plus. And then the residual benefits usually, 20 to 30,000. It's a smaller portion of it.
20%, right?
Phyllis, did you say it was based on the premium? I mean, whatever was put in?
No, I did not.
It's based on the death benefit. So it's if you do
The
like a
death benefit.
6,000, yeah.
So if the death benefit's 200,000, right?
Oh, okay, right. Okay, gotcha.
And they use it all up. They use it all up, every penny of it.
Yeah.
Then at the death of the second spouse, somebody will get what, 40,000.
Okay, I just didn't hear that one part. Sorry.
One of the other notes that I had, just like a little extra goodies, U.S. citizens residing outside of the U.S. can be considered on an exception basis with a few qualifying questions. Why and how long have they lived in the U.S.? Any travel outside of the country they currently live in? What ties do they have to the U.S.? How often do they visit? Does the clients have U.S.-based income and assets? How would the premium payments be made? Occupation, medical history also taken into consideration. And in these situations, the application and associated paperwork would need to be completed in the US. Telephone interview and cognitive screen should also be completed in the US. And residents of the US with a green card can also be considered as long as it is a 10-year or permanent green card and they are not outside the US for more than 6 months out of the year. So just a little extra info. I forget this all the time, guys. Did we have credit card premium with Nationwide? Or or am I imagining that?
$5,000, I believe.
Okay, up to 5,000. Um, we also have, thank you, Diane, CareMatters Together residual death benefit is 10%, CareMatters 2 is 20. Let's see. Lisa had a request to look at an illustration. Miss Rhonda, do you think you could be so kind to just show us how we generate a sample illustration so we can see what it looks like?
Yes.
And I want to see if I had anything else. I had another note here. Nationwide can split 1035 exchanges internally as long as the whole policy comes to them first. So that's a nice little piece to know as well.
All right, so let's pick a compact state. Let's put in Iowa up here. And so for anybody that's quoting is new, you get the software downloaded. I downloaded mine on my desktop. That's what I like to do. And then we're going to look at, you want to do CareMatters 2 or you want to do CareMatters Together first?
Let's do 2. Let's start simple.
This is the best software. So easy.
It is quick. They also have a quick quote software, which is pretty decent too if you need something nice and fast.
Here again, they will allow for a partnership, a domestic partner discount. So if here's where you're going to put your tobacco, non-tobacco, and if you have two people living together, even if they're not married, so you get domestic relationships. So once you put your insured information in, then you come down to the face value. I personally like to, this is another fun thing is we can solve this several ways with them. I usually like to go for the monthly benefit because I talked to him about the cost of care, how much insurance you want. So, maybe I want an 8,000 monthly benefit. And let's see if I can do to pay to age 100. We'll just kind of compare. And let's say I want the average 4 years of benefits. And I want that 3% compound inflation. Then up here, you're going to pick that calculation button. Another nice thing you're going to see in a minute, it's going to get a quick snapshot. Lincoln does this as well, and I think Bright House does this one as well on theirs. One American now does a quick glance as well. So down here, you're going to see this little snapshot, but let's go over here to the policy highlights. So here we are. I've got pay to 100. I've got a starting out day one, 8,000 monthly benefit. Isn't this fun? At age 85, they're going to tell me that I'm going to be entitled to 18,853 because a lot of people have a hard time comprehending how much is 3% going to be worth in 5, 10, 15, 20 years. So Nationwide takes a stance the mid 80s is when we become vulnerable to needing care. So they're just going to tell you, hey, if I start with an 8,000 on day one, when I turn 85, I'm entitled. And I love telling people that you're entitled to 18,853 a month, tax-free to go for home care, community care, facility care. So I've got the initial pool for one. They're going to tell me I'm also $946,000. There's our 4 years, 3% compound. Here's that specified death benefit. So that's the 192,000. So if I go on claim and I use more than $192,000 in long-term care, then this death benefit will disappear. It will be gone. But look at that guaranteed minimum benefit. That's that residual benefit I was telling you about. Should I exhaust my 946,000 for long-term care, then I know my 2 kids are going to at least get 38,400 as a death benefit. Okay. Now, another fun thing on theirs, they have their little pictures for people. I used to have these pages memorized, but here it is. I love this page. So for all of you talking to people with tax deductibility, they break it down because remember, this is a 7702. It's tax qualified, which means the IRS will allow your self-employed S Corps, LLCs, business owners, C Corps, you can take a tax deduction for qualified long-term care premiums. So obviously there's the death benefit. So the life insurance portion of it's $4,297. But anything that you see LTC, you add those numbers together. That's the number they're going to turn in at tax time to say they purchased long-term care. And this is the premium that's going to count towards a tax deduction. The other thing I like is the tabular details. And this is what Phyllis was alluding to. Don't forget the death benefit is level. It never, ever changes. So that's that $192,000 death benefit. And you see over time, it stays the same. But why we're buying the policy is the gray. It's the long-term care benefit. So we start on the second column to the right. We've got the 8,000 monthly benefit. And fast forward when I'm 85, I think it was 18,000. There it is. I'm entitled to 18,853. So can you imagine 18,853 every month the claim is going to be subtracted from that $192,000 death benefit? Okay.
192 increases when the premium reaches that.
I just saw that. I'm like, wait a minute, I just lied.
Yep, it does that and it does it on the 10 pay too.
Wow.
No, it doesn't do it on the 10 pay.
I never saw that before until now. I just thought, oh my gosh, what happened there? But I love the tabular details. Those are kind of a couple pages I like. It does have some cash value in it. So
I also like they break out the different premiums for other different types of plan design, right? So like what a 6 year looks like or what different levels of inflation protection look like. I believe they have a page like that, don't they?
Can't remember. I was just looking at one this morning. I can't remember which company it was.
Well, Secure Quote has a good one. I mean, Securian, I know.
Securian has a good one. I know Lincoln has a good one too.
Mhm.
All right, now what I love, now that we've got all the information, if I just simply go back here to case design, I can go and say, well, let's take a look at what if I paid that up in 10 years? What would that look like? Then I can do calculate. Maybe I don't want to look at all 20, 40 pages. I can just look at that snapshot over here. So that 10-year premium is going to be 14,779. And there it is again there too. Now let's look at what Diane was saying. Let's just go back and see. So there's the 192 death benefit. But like she just said, on 21, the death benefit stays the same. But on the pay as you go, the death benefit
Right. Well, that's because the premium is only 147, so it doesn't surpass the death benefit.
Yep,
Right.
yep.
I love that.
All right, now let's say I want to go back to, well, maybe I do want to add, maybe that looks really good. I didn't want to add my spouse, but maybe I do now. So now we're going to go back up here to the change. We're going to add in CareMatters together. And we're going to put in my partner. Oops. And just for fun. And now we're still going to put in the monthly benefit. Oh, you can put in a, by the way, you could solve it for, so if you have somebody that says, I inherited $100,000, want to take 100,000, you could put in the premium for 100,000 and see what it would buy you there as well. But let's say we're doing the 8,000 monthly benefit. Let's go back to the pay to 100. There's our 4, 6, or 8 years of long-term care that you can have. Let's do the 8 years. We're still going to do the 3% compound.
And I like how they specify their pay to age 100 of the older insured, not the first one to reach 100, the second. Or excuse me, no, the first one to reach 100, the older insured.
So now I could buy 13,163 to cover both of us. Now let's look at the tabular details here. So now see the death benefit went from 192 to 288 because again, the base was 24 months and now we're spreading it out to 36 months. So that means the life insurance portion is going to be more, which sometimes it is more cost effective for each to have your own policy. Just depends on what they want. And oh, so interesting there, it still stayed the same.
Mhm.
Now let's do the 10 pay. Let's say we want to do 10-year premium. So I think the 10 pay for me alone was like 14, I think. So now it's 24,000. Now let's look at the tabular details because now it's caught my eye. Yep. Oh, it does increase a little bit there. Yep. So play around with this. If you don't have this software downloaded, call your whoever you run your contracts through, get on the phone, get your case manager, have them help you, download the software. Let's just say we want to do, let's go back to, I'll do one more thing and then I'll stop. Let's go back to CareMatters together. And let's say I want to do a premium. I gotta see if I got enough zeros in there. What would $100,000 buy me for a 4-year, 3% compound inflation on a 10 pay?
Hey Rhonda, have you ever run nationwide through WinFlex at all? David's asking if there's merit to using the proprietary software over something like WinFlex.
I've never, the only thing I use WinFlex for is Mutual of Omaha.
That's what I used to use it for too. But I know there are a lot of people who really enjoy having all the carriers or as many carriers as they can in the same place. I think that's what you're going to get out of WinFlex. I think if muscle memory is a big thing for long-term care specialists, right? Because we're using the platforms we use quite often.
I still
Um,
use the regular Mutual of Omaha platform. I just still love it.
so Jackie's saying a little bit faster performance with desktop, and I think like switching between different scenarios, Rhonda's able to do that pretty quick, 3 clicks really to kind of change plans, case
Mm,
design.
so quick.
And then really calculate. So if you need to change little minimal things and working off of the snapshot, I think that's where you can start to dial in things pretty quickly.
Mhm.
This is interesting. So now I do a single premium of 100,000. On day one, I have a 6,341 monthly benefit, not 8,000. But instead of paying the whatever the premium was till 100 to age 100, I could do a single premium of 100,000. And that's still a lot of tax-free long-term care to go for my care.
Yep.
I will tell you, in general, Nationwide is going to beat out One America's 10 pay for the most. This is a general, always run it to double check. But I will tell you right now, Bright House is probably coming in the most competitive 10-year premium, and
Yeah.
maybe even Securian depending on it. So I kind of put Nationwide and Securian like twin sisters. They're really just really neck and neck
Yep.
on their benefits. Securian does give an option for the waiver of premium. You have to add it in there extra. They do not have the residual death benefit. They just have the 90 calendar day. And then we talked about the international, but there sometimes the death benefit may be a little higher with Securian than it would be with Nationwide. Just run the numbers and see what they like. But I would say for single individuals, if you're doing a 10-year premium, do not miss Bright House right now.
White House and Lincoln are running neck and neck
Oh, I was gonna ask about Lincoln.
I would,
on the champion. You know,
yeah.
we might ought to talk about qualified money. Could we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because I just had to stumble my way through that. So people with, they can't put qualified money directly into Nationwide, but what they can do is buy a 10-year certain. Let's if they're doing a 10 pay SPIA, and Nationwide will handle all of that internally. If you buy the SPIA from Nationwide, they'll just literally walk it down 3/4 and hand it to the long-term care insurance people. However, I was shopping the SPIAs and I found out that Securian gives you a little more bang for your buck. And the first answer from Nationwide was no, we can't take that from Securian. So it happened then, we asked, and sure enough, they came back and said, okay, we'll take it. So now they will take it from another source.
Competitive.
Yeah. Yep.
Thank you, Jackie, for sending me the new updated CareMatters underwriting guide. It's fantastic. It looks like Alan wrote it. I'm excited to dig into it a little bit more with a fine-tooth comb. And the quoting software that Rhonda showed, like she mentioned, contact your BGA. You will need to be appointed, have a login with Nationwide to use that software. So make sure to contact your BGA for access to that. But in the buddy system, we also have, if you're like, wow, this was a revelatory presentation, I need something now. I can't wait. I can't wait for my BGA to give me my login. We do have under the quoting process in the Nationwide product guide. So if you have individual selected, you go to individual solutions, find Nationwide. Under quoting process, we do have the CareMatters quick quote. This does not require any login whatsoever. So you can actually walk through the quick quote guide. Again, it's going to be pretty minimal. It's not going to have all the bells and whistles that you are used to, but you can run through it pretty quick. It's only going to give you a one-time payment or a pay to 100, no inflation or 3% compound. So not as many bells and whistles as you are used to, but you can kind of dial in a premium payment to age 100. You can click see results and it'll give you some super quick diagrams here. I said super quick. Don't make me look stupid, guys. All right. So it'll give you your total long-term care for day one, your total long-term care at age 80. And this is kind of like the tried and true hybrid long-term care sort of diagram, right? Your buckets. So this is your 2 year, your first 2 years that comes from that specified amount of long-term care, the 4 years, and how it will total up for you. And it'll give you your residual death benefit. So, I mean, it is not the full illustration that you are used to, but if you need something right away, especially if you don't have the login yet, but you just kind of want to price it out for a client you have in mind, I certainly recommend going to check that out. So what do you think, Rhonda and everybody?
I think Nationwide's on everybody's side.
Do we
You
have,
might have your Calvin.
yeah, and coming out my ears too.
No. Chicken parm. It tastes so good.
Yeah, whatever your custom
That's
jingle
our
is.
boy from Tennessee.
That's right. Yeah, this was an awesome session, really, really thorough. I think we covered all our bases here. I hope for those of you who raised your hand and said, I haven't written a nationwide case, I hope you learned a lot. I hope you can kind of identify some clients you have in mind, where this kind of fits alongside some of the other options you may be using for hybrid.
I have two suggestions for you, Jason.
I would love for you to give them.
Number one, I already voting for our Queen Bee Phyllis to lead up a session on the international benefits, breaking that apart. I think that would be a fun and very educational, insightful. And then our very own Linda Tellheimer at our conference last week did a really great job on talking about partnering up with local professional financial planners and addressing specifically working with financial planners and
Yeah.
to why. And she had a great presentation. It's pretty much already put together. I know a lot of us keep hearing kickback from working with financial planners that do not want to take away business. I just had an appointment with one yesterday where they wanted long-term care and the financial planner told them they had enough money. The husband was declined, so I showed them Bridge. They really liked the idea until they went to their planner and they came back and the planner says, I have enough money. And so after a while, we started talking about it. And I said, realistically, they just really don't like the idea of you taking $100,000 out of their portfolio. And she says, yeah, but they're fiduciaries. They're supposed to be doing what's in my best interest. And she said, well, he did say that if I kept my traditional policy, he liked that. That was a good policy. And I said, that's because you're paying for it out of your income. It's not buttoned into his $100,000. And she goes, oh my God, you're right. So
Hmm.
anyway, I would like to nominate, and I can do it really easily because she's not here, but she would be a great one to put on the calendar too.
Yeah, we had a session where we had Linda and Phyllis actually tag team that a little bit ago, and I'll send that out in the recording email so that everybody can take a look at it. It was an awesome session, and we will have that come around again. I have Miss Linda booked in a couple weeks from now to take us through John Hancock Life Care because she's really taken to that product, and she is like yourself really, really good at explaining the things that matter about products for agents. So we're going to do that. And I think the session for international benefits kind of want to make a panel out of that too. I think Linda should be a part of that. Can Linda just come and teach us every day? I wish. Her study group sessions are really awesome. So, well, I'll have to have my people call her people and see what we can arrange for that. But I think Phyllis, if you're down for it, I think between you and Linda, we'll get a lot of info on international benefits. And I don't think I've ever seen a session on it before.
Do is that's something that I used to track all the time and I kind of fell off the rails, but now we've got new information. I can take the one pager that I've done and go over it with Linda in advance and we can work together to really fine tune it. And then we would have a handout that we can give people as a guide and and you can put it on product, but,
I
and
mean,
it will, yeah.
that would be amazing. We'll talk about it on Wednesday.
Okay.
Alrighty. Well, thank you again, Rhonda. I always
Everybody.
appreciate you, one of our most prolific study group presenters, but also Phyllis, Diane, Jackie, everybody who helped out in the chat, answering people's questions, keeping the conversation going. These sessions wouldn't be what they are without you. I say it all the time, but it's very,
We're a
very true.
team. We're a
We're a
team.
team here. The
Yeah.
long-term care industry, we are a team more than we know it.
Yeah.
That's why we're here,
Okay.
to help everybody realize that. Appreciate you all. Be well, and we'll talk to you this time next week. Bye, everyone.
You want just one.